Welcome to Learning Life Skills Together. This is our weekly community Zoom meeting where our guests help us to go deeper into the 4 life skills and open up a huge array of chances to practice them. Hello, everyone, and welcome to weekly Zoom meeting number 31 with Jim Neary of Jim Neary's Bait and Tackle. And we'll get into how bait and tackle relate to the 4 life skills in a little bit. But as always, we start with practice. And since we have fishing on our minds, and one of the really classic ways of fishing is with a float, a bobber on the water. And when that bobber gets pulled under by the fish, you are fishing. So I'd like to start by kind of doing that ourselves. So I'd like you to choose something to look at wherever you are. Just pick an object in the room where you are, or on the porch if you're watching outside, with a cold drink on this hot day. If you are in your car, please do not participate. Please pay attention to the road. So do your best attentive driving. All right, so here we go. You've chosen an object to look at. So bring your attention there. So it's not just your eyes. You're not just bringing your eyes there. You're knowing that you're looking at that object, whatever it is. And see if you can keep your attention there. Just what does it take to hold your attention there? And so as you're watching, as you're feeling that you're attached to what you're looking at, just resting yourself so you don't have to do anything right now. And so maybe at some point you notice that your attention has gone away and you're thinking about something else. Your eyes might still be on the object, but maybe your attention goes away. And so you could bring your attention back, really feel attached to that thing again. And so this is how we practice attention, how we practice paying attention. You know, we have an object. It might be something we're looking at. It might be our own breathing or the sensations in our feet. You know, we pay attention and we notice that our mind goes away. And then we notice that we can bring it back. So we're learning in a really small way each time to be aware of what's happening with our mind and where it goes, and a little bit how to bring it back. So, taming our mind a little bit, maybe. So just noticing right now where your attention is. Is it where we started? Is it on that object? Do you feel a connection? And so you might take a deeper breath in right now and let it out. And now I would invite you, if you've been doing this practice with us, to type something in the chat that says how this was for you. And in the meantime, while folks are typing, I'm going to ask my guest, Jim Neary, what he noticed about his mind.
I did the exercise. It felt a little different. I mean, like a calmness came over me.
A calmness came over you.
Yeah.
Did you notice your mind staying in one place, or did it go away? What happened?
Like you said, pretty much my eyes were still remaining at until the very end. But then my mind started wandering, but I would have to force myself to come back to it.
Yeah. And so we get this little bit of practice each time we do this kind of thing. And so this kind of thing is like fishing with your bobber, right? We can cast out, we're watching our bobber, and the next thing we know, we're thinking about what we're going to do that evening, what we're going to have if we don't catch any fish.
There you go.
Right? And somebody has to tell us that our bobber went down and that we could have a fish on. So, it's fishing sort of reinforces our need to pay attention and really helps us learn how to keep coming back, keep bringing our attention back. Yeah. I'll say one other thing about it, because I'm a college professor. And that is that this is what reading is like.
Yes.
Right? Your eyes are going along in the book, and suddenly you realize that you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about something else again, and you have to bring your mind back, find out where you were, and go back again. So this is a skill that's transferable from fishing to being in the classroom.
I totally agree. Yeah.
I'm not sure people necessarily make that connection, but there we are. So, Jim is the proprietor of Jim Neary's Bait and Tackle in Octoraro, Pennsylvania, and he does a lot of work with children and fishing, as well as with veterans and fishing, which is another story, and maybe we'll have him back and talk about that one. But I'd really like to hear, Jim, a little bit about how it is that you work with kids, what you're up to in that area.
Okay. Well, like for instance, recently I did a demonstration over at Yogi Bear Campgrounds. It's approximately 5 miles from Coreyville. Go up there, show the kids, and like we discussed earlier, in private, like you got to read the room. So if I see a bunch of like 4 to 6, 7, 8 years old, then I'll bring out the bobber, show them correct how to place a bobber on, how to do the split shot, the basic knot, fisherman's knot to do that. Then we go into different casting techniques, and with all the reels, the push button, the spinning, and the bait caster, and then different rods. A lot of people are not up on, like, there's 2 different ways to classify a rod. It's power and action. And that's for like my older clientele. Because
right. Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like a lot for a 4 to 6 year old to take.
Yeah, I start rolling back in the head, so I know, okay, we're not going in.
Yeah, okay.
But, I did one at Yogi Bear, did one at last weekend at Sika. I did another demonstration for the kids. And then, of course, my main thing is going up and down the East Coast and down south, showing the kids that fishing shows.
Oh, at shows, okay.
At shows. If anybody's been to a fishing show, you see the big tank, the big hog trout they call. I go on there, go up on there, show them the different ways that the lure runs, what application you use that for, and what we just discussed too about the different bobber placement if it's a young crowd or even guys that have been out for a while. I give different techniques, for my upper echelon guys. Right.
Yeah. Okay. So you're essentially training people to fish, and you're training them at the level that they can manage.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, this is really it, and this is really what learning life skills together is doing. Is saying there are these basic skills that we have, and what do they look like to a 4-year-old, and what do they look like to a 10-year-old, and what, you know, and how do we work with them, and what does it look like to an 18-year-old?
Yep.
And so, you know, that's the kind of thing you're doing. And from, you know, our talk before the streaming here, you have 7 sort of buckets of thinking that you use when you're teaching the kids.
Yes.
So what I noticed as we were going through those was that they fit really well with the 4 skills that we're teaching in learning life skills together. So I thought that we could just have a conversation around these 7 points that you think are most important for people fishing, and that I think they're most important for people for life and for mental health and resilience.
Great.
So here's the commonality made as a thing in the world. So on Saturday coming up, June 29th, starting at 7 a.m. at the Glenroy Preserve in Nottingham, the Oxford Library is holding their annual fishing tournament. And this is a really special tournament because, as I understand it, I may be wrong, but as I understand it, the ponds that they use are not open for fishing except for this tournament. So those fish have been in there growing for another year.
Yes.
So, and there's lots of bass, as I understand it. So one way of thinking about the show tonight is that Jim is going to give us pointers on how to score big at the tournament for the Oxford Library.
We can only hope.
We can only hope that you soak this up, okay, and that you take these as life skills as well. So let's start with the first one that we mentioned, okay, which is time management.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously, there's different shapes and bodies of water, you know, different areas. If you have like 2 hours of fish and you see a lake that's like 6 acres, well, I'm walking along the bank. I'm not going to be able to fish in every little nook and cranny. So let's look at this lake and see, oh, that looks like the fishiest place. And how do we know it looks the fishiest? That comes from experience. Or we caught our fish the last time or something very similar to another body of water. So I'm going to try there. Basically, like if a tree's coming off there and it's an unbroken bank, I'm going there first because that's what they hide for cover. So I'm going to then, you know, from experience, which we'll get into later, like I know I'll probably start out with this one or a fast-moving bait for the most aggressive fish. That comes from doing it after a while. So time management, okay, so I got 2 hours. I want to hit my fishy-looking places. Okay, trees coming down. Oh, look at this. There's a big area of vegetation that's submerging that comes up out of the water. I know they're hiding under there because it gets a little bit cooler underneath there in the dead of summer. So I like to go in there after chasing minnows or what have you with the forage bases. So just, you know, like I said, you got 2 hours. You got to, you know, regulate that to what you're trying to accomplish in a bigger body of water.
Yeah. And so this relates to that idea that we started with, which is the one of paying attention. So I want to look around me, see what's there, use what knowledge I have of the fish and maybe of that place if it's a place that I go to a lot.
Yes.
You know. So I'm making those choices based on what I'm seeing in that moment.
Well, when that's another thing I bring up when I'm on the road. I said the way I did it. I would like actually have this little waterproof notebook with a little wax pencil. I caught a bass on, let's say, this guy here. Caught him. Okay, it's 6:15. All right, so I caught him in that. It was overcast day. The color was green pumpkin. Make a mental note of that or write it down. Okay, so next time. Well, in a certain circumstance like that again, I know there's bass in here from my friends or me catching before. So maybe I'm going to go try that again because it worked magnificently last time.
Yeah.
Try this one now.
Yeah.
If that doesn't work, all right, well, trying something else then.
So we're working with attention, we're working with memory, we're working with making some notes.
Yes.
I like that. Yeah. Okay. So time management, using your knowledge, using your attention, your awareness in the place. So let's try another one, which you called losing a fish, which I thought was really interesting.
The greatest of feelings.
So this is precisely the kind of thing that we're interested in at learning life skills together, because losing a fish is more difficult, requires more work on your part than catching the fish. We can all high five. We can all feel excited, but to lose the fish and then keep going, keep fishing, So what do you see when you're working with kids, when you're working with grown-ups as well, I'm sure?
True, it's not age specific. It's our whole lifetime, just keeping it, in my knowledge, like the fishing, like when you use that, okay, I ask myself, okay, why did I lose that fish? Was my hook set correct? Like, for instance, I know like 9 out of 10 times I'm sweep hooking the fish. That's a better hook set than just going like this.
So just for the bass fishermen who are maybe going to the tournament, you want to keep your rod low and pull it along the water.
Correct. But safety first, make sure you know who's
behind you.
Know your.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, and then, for me at this point in my life, it's like, okay, I lost one. I know I was doing everything right, but sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
And you just deal with it and move on. All right, well, there's another big one. I'm going to get that one. Have a positive attitude.
So can you describe what you do specifically when you miss a fish or break one off? What happens?
Walk me on radio?
Okay, so that happens. The vocabulary comes out. I gotcha. Yeah.
Well, okay. Beside that, like when I was losing one like that, like I said, I would just say, I know I hook set right, the lure was presented properly, or else the fish wouldn't have bit it. So then I throw back kind of close to that because they're pack animals, pack mentality usually with different lures and whatever. I don't want to get into but I would try again, right, not where that fish bit it, but maybe a little bit over, because if he's there's usually other bass right in the area.
Right.
So I'm going right back at him. Don't quit. Just go right back at him. Have persistence.
Right. Okay. So, and you sort of reset yourself to do that, because you have to make the cast. You have to do all that kind of stuff too. So you got to be like, okay, I missed him.
Reel in your empty hook. Make sure that's all straight on the thing.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
And sometimes those kinds of things really help you to calm down before you go back out, right?
True.
Just looking at your tackle, making sure that your lure is where it's supposed to be, and
mindset totally squared away, ready to go again.
Yeah. So that helps to reset you, and that's kind of that. Looking at an object, bringing your mind there, so that what I'm thinking about, what I'm worrying about, is my plastic worm.
Yep.
Not what a bad fisherman I am right now, right?
True.
Because that's not even true. Yeah. We're telling ourselves a story. Yeah. So we can stop telling the story, look at our equipment, make sure our terminal tackle is good, and get back at it.
That's a good point. Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So losing a fish really, brings us into that realm of emotion regulation. And here's one of those situations where we need to do that. And it's actually a pleasure to do that, because we keep fishing. As you said, it's important to go right back, and not say, oh, no, this is not for me. I can't do this. Because, I think some of the people that we're talking to and some of the people we're going to see at the tournament, the learning life skills will be there. well, you can come and talk to us. And actually, you could win a couple of fishing rods, and we have some tackle to give away as well. So, fun time.
And my special color lures, by the way.
And Jim's special color lures to give away. So, yes, awesome. So, I think that the next piece that comes up here after, yes, we're paying attention, we're regulating ourselves, and we're going back, is that we have discipline. So this is the next piece. So can you talk a little bit about how you talk to the kids about that?
Okay, that falls in line pretty much with what we just talked about too, the discipline. So the more time we spend on the water, the more you get like a muscle memory. Where to fish, how to fish that certain lure, how did it perform last time. With the kids, I'd show them, how to pitch, and right off the bat, I'd tell them you will catch 80% more fish than if you just throw away bombs away and let that thing come down with a big old splash. If you can learn to pitch a fishing technique, you'll be much more productive. So the discipline, the practice.
Yeah. So what does that take? So bombs away, we all get.
We all do
you
that.
go way back with your shoulder and let it go.
Yes.
Yeah.
That, the sidearm cast and whip it out there.
Yeah.
Sure, that works sometimes. Don't get me wrong. But more precise thing, which takes the discipline to calm down and really practice that. Sight your fish or the area you want to do it and try to get there as accurate as you can. You will be rewarded eventually, if not immediately.
Yeah. So that's that part of having some emotional regulation. I mean, going back to that is, we really want to fling it out there.
Yep.
And, when you're first starting out, and believe it or not, I can remember back that far, and what you want to do is cast as far as you can.
True. Very true.
And so you're, I can do it. It's like, sometimes the water right near you is where the fish are, and, you need to fish that part too. So you have to pull yourself back in. You have to have that self-control. You have to have that discipline to do that. And as you say, to practice, because it's harder to do that than it is just to go with your emotions and just fling it.
Right.
Yeah.
You see fish out there breaking the forge baits that you notice in it, the bass are feeding. Oh, I see them breaking water, so bass are chasing out here. Let me get this rattle trap and really wing it out there. I know, but I just caught a bass over here with a little 4-inch worm. Right down there.
Yeah.
Pitch right in there. That's probably even bigger.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe we'll see some people fishing up closer.
Yeah.
On Saturday. Who knows? Yeah. And so the other part that this fits with is the whole thing that we're trying to get people to do with learning life skills, which is to be in situations where we have to apply our attention, where we have to, work with our emotions over and over and over again. Because, as you were saying, it's kind of like muscle memory, although maybe it's got a little more brain involved in it. So the idea is that I learn how to calm myself and make that shorter cast sensibly and accurately,
Yes.
As I do it again and again and again. And then it becomes part of who I am. And part of who I am as a fisherman is to do that, but how we are as fishers, I don't want to, here I am, I'm an old man, I'm saying fisherman, so as a person who fishes, I want to have those skills transfer into the way I live my life. I want to live my life as someone who takes care of the environment, controls themselves, does what's necessary, and does, pardon me, but I think that when somebody makes the perfect cast, that is beautiful. And so somebody who does the beautiful thing, who makes the beautiful gesture, is what we want to be as people who are fishing. You know?
Well put.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, cool. Right. So, perseverance is another one of your 7 things.
That's very important. And that ties in with... Yeah.
So maybe you could talk about what that looks like with a couple of different age groups, because you're saying, okay, so you're at the Yogi Bear Park, and it's 4 and 5 and 6-year-olds. So how does that look, and how do you get that point across to them?
Okay, for that age group, they want to be, for lack of better terminology, they want to be chucking it out there.
Yep.
Chucking it out.
Yeah.
And they want to swing for the fences every cast. Let them do it. Let them do that. You know what I'm saying? Let them enjoy it. Let them build up that thing like, wow, this was fun. First, you got to make it fun for them. Then you can get into more detailed, rigmarole, so to speak. As you get older, most of the guys, they've been through the chucking. They know how the different lures, how they work and stuff like that. But then I tweak them like, okay, so use the buzz bait. Okay, there's different ways to use the buzz bait, different ways to use a spinner bait, 10 different ways. Maybe I'll go through a couple of them for a big, like 12 to 14, 16. Guys have been out for a while, and I can talk to them like an adult, and what's the best way to throw it out there. Still, I'm going to go back to that pitching technique. Pitching technique for any one of these will work tremendously, as opposed to bomb away. Like back to that little kid. No, bombs away, man. Go for it.
Right.
And then just getting the basics down with him from the bobber, if you use live bait when it first started, I catch some sunnies. Let have the thrill of that, catching that sunfish in there, coming out of the water, let daddy or mom take it off the hook from him, show him it. Look at how beautiful that is. Release them nice into the water so we protect our environment and also the species, because we don't need to kill a fish if you're not going to eat them.
Yeah, exactly.
And so there's a lot to learn about that, and there's all a big conglomerate. It's not just the art of fishing. It's like, as I've learned through the years, it's like there's a lot that goes on with the conservation of the environmentally sound part of it. When you go out with a buddy, it's a close connection. It's the clearing of your mind. I know we're straying away from the perseverance, but just wanted to touch on that a little bit.
No, well, I think that even clearing your mind is part of being able to persevere. Because one of the things that happens is we feel like our mistakes, our problems, all those kinds of things are piling up on us.
Yes.
And, it's like, okay, I've missed 3 fish now. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know what's going on. I may just reel in and go put my rod in the car.
Don't do it.
Forget about it. And so, so there it is. Don't do that, right? But you need to work with yourself.
Yes. Take a deep breath, take a drink.
Yeah. Clear yourself. Maybe look at the sky instead of the water for a little while, or whatever comes up for you. But don't stop fishing. Don't give up is the point here. And the hardest of the 4 skills is the skill of tolerating our distress, being able to be in a place that we don't want to be, so to speak. It's like, I don't want to be skunked. I've been fishing for 2 hours. I missed a bunch of strikes, and oh man, this is not feeling good. So how do I get myself back on track? How do you do it is maybe an interesting question. And then, just to say that getting ourselves back on track is what we're practicing. So we may find our own ways, but what do you do specifically?
Even with my experience, I still have, talking about fishing, self-doubt. Like, man, like if you said, if that situation happened, if I missed 3 in a row, check this. I would go through the checkpoints in my mind quickly, like we talked about most of my, okay, set the hook right, okay, the presentation was good, the color was good. Was it quick enough on a set hook? I would keep trying. Okay, was that, why did I miss that one? Okay, so instead of reeling this at, 2 miles per second, I'm going to slow that down and then give it a twitch. See if that makes a difference.
Okay.
Sometimes it does.
Right.
Sometimes you can go out fishing with a boatload of knowledge and get skunked. You've got to realize that. You know what I'm saying? There's even the top pros do that. If you watch TV and these guys, and that I go out on the road with some of them too, and they have skunk days, and they're doing it for money and for livelihood.
Yeah.
So it's not just you that's failing. You're not failing yourself. It's just that the fish weren't cooperating, or you just, like I said, maybe it was you mechanically not setting the hook correct. But you'll get it. You'll get it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Yeah.
Perseverance.
So tolerate how you're feeling, let it clear, and continue is what we're talking about. Now, there's one of those transferable skills.
Yes.
And we transfer that into school. What's that like? That's like, oh, I got a C on this quiz, and I got a C on the last quiz. I'm starting to see a pattern here. I'm not liking it. What do I do? How do I reset myself and say, okay, well, I need to study differently. I need to read through, just the night before, or whatever it happens to be. That's going to be different, like you say, but still in among the things that I know to do.
Yes.
Like this worked for this worked for this. Well, maybe this will work for the problem that I have right now. Yep. So sort of thinking our way through, becoming calm enough to think about what we want to do, and making sure that we don't just give up. Yeah, I like that. Okay. So now we come to friendly competition.
One of my favorite ones. Yep.
So talk about how that works.
Okay. You can, everything from going out, I've been through the whole gamut. Started out fishing with a bobber and a worm, learning how to use different lures, fishing tournaments, being on a tournament trail, to now I'm back to fishing, mainly fishing with a bobber and worm. My wife at night, sitting down by the dock with a couple of sodas.
Right.
I've been through the whole gamut. I personally, I still love fishing, but I love the learning aspect, teaching somebody how to fish more. I really find enjoyment when I see somebody doing what I told them and they catch a fish and looking at the excitement, especially kids, man. You can't beat that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. They love it. And that's maybe a lifelong thing they'll enjoy. That's all the payment you could ever ask for.
Yeah.
And the friendly competition part is like when when my friends fishing, you get to talk a little smack. I caught one before you did, or the biggest one was caught by me because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. But it wasn't luck that fish was bigger than yours.
Right. Of course, that never gets said. But just go out there. You can take that, like when I said about when I was tournament fishing. Friendly. It's not as friendly, but it's competition. Because it's for money. So there's a lot of rules to follow. Bam, 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 bam. But I didn't do that for too long. I only did it for like 4 or 5 years, and I really wasn't really liking that because whole different partners, different tournament trails, and some guys like fierce about it. Me, I was still, want to go fishing. I still enjoyed it. I wanted to have fun. That kind of took the fun out of it. I was up to that level of tournament fishing. Yeah. Just the fun part was escaping me for after a while. So I said, I'm not into this anymore.
Yeah.
I still love to go fishing. Like I said, I'm with a worm and a freaking bobber because of my wife. She's never really fished until she met me, and she's all about that. My kids all love fishing. And it's weird. I got 5 kids. My 2 daughters are the better fishermen than the boys.
Really?
Yes. It's crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I hope everybody heard that.
Yeah.
So daughters can be better than the sons.
Yeah, and they paid attention.
Yeah.
They definitely, they're pay attention.
So there's a friendly competition there in your family.
Yes, my oldest son too, because he's pretty good, but the one daughter's better than him. Mm-hmm. You don't want to hear it.
Okay, I get that. So we're together, we're doing this, we keep it light, we keep it friendly in terms of the competition part.
Yep.
And, that just to fill things in here, I mean, that matches with the skill that we teach in learning life skills of communication. So how do we say these things? How do we say to someone, my fish was bigger than yours, with, in a tactful, fun way rather than a hurtful way. So there's good practice there.
There is.
In doing that with somebody and knowing what the sort of boundaries are.
Social skills, you develop that.
Yeah, you really do.
Sometimes you want to be a wise guy, though.
Sometimes you do, and you have to learn who you can be a wise guy with.
Yes.
That's really important, is to know who's going to get hurt, who's going to get mad, or who's going to laugh along with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't talk smack to somebody I haven't been fishing for a while. Saying no.
Yeah.
It'd be a good time for everybody.
Absolutely. So, lifelong journey, number 6.
Okay, basically
take it away.
The sport of fishing. You can start when you're 3 years old and fish till 103. The physical aspect of it, you can make it as tough or as simple as you want. The knowledge part, each time I go out in the water, I learn something new. That's what makes it worthwhile to me, because I like to be learning something. And just like the different cycles of your life, like for instance, I started just chucking out. That was fun, and I catch a fish, and that was fun. And the first fish I caught on a lure was amazing. I remember I was upstate New York, and instead of Easter clothes, my stepdad said you can either get Easter clothes or a fishing outfit, fishing pack. So give me the fishing pack. So I got that. Of course, you got your bobbers, your sinkers, little hooks, and one little lure in there called a Lazy Ike.
I remember Lazy Ikes. Oh my goodness! And Tiny Tads.
Yes,
made by the same company, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
and it was a hunk of plastic in a weird shape, and that amazed me right there. I said, "That's a pretty cool color," and it had 2 hooks on it. So I tied it on, and I was fishing a stream no wider than 15 feet wide and water flowing. I remember throwing it in there because I never used a lure before. So I'm watching it dart sideways and up and down, and I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." And I'll be darned if a rock bass didn't come out and get it. Like, oh my God. Like that rush. I've never forgot that rush.
Yeah.
And loved it.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I've been hooked. No pun intended.
Okay. I think that was required. I think somebody had to say that.
Yeah,
tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can start fishing as soon as you can hold the rod for 5 minutes.
Yep. Let mom and dad cast it out, hand it to the kid. He's going to be so excited. I don't care if he's 3. I've seen it on their faces. 3-year-old kid. Mom and dad's come all the time. We fish in these little pools when I'm on the road. He gets a fish. He's like, all excited. Yeah, look.
Yeah. And so this is, again, that reinforcement. It's again, that sense of, I need to pay attention. Here's how I pay attention. I got to watch the bobber.
Yep.
Right. I mean, really, so much of our life comes back to something like watching a bobber. Even if you're in college and you're reading a textbook that's pretty hard going, you got to keep bringing your mind back and back and back, just like with the bobber. Yeah, that's really, really interesting. Really, really kind of profound in a way. And so the final, number 7 here, is the mental aspects of fishing. So you talk about those with the kids. I'm gathering at different levels.
Yes.
Again, at the Yogi Bear place versus out on the Octoraro Reservoir. Right. Different conversations.
Yes.
Give me the first conversation. Give me the young conversation about about the mental aspects of fishing.
Okay. I try to impress upon it as soon as they're able to understand, like, it's all about the conservation part of it. Don't kill a fish if you don't have to. Take care of it properly, the correct way to handle a fish. The mental aspects, for when they're like 6 years old, I said, Just go out there, have a good time. Catch a fish, there's nothing like on it. And like I show them the different things and the mental aspect of it. Just get out there and do it, man. Just get out there and do it. The little guys, however their mind works, I forget. It's been a long time for me, being 63. But, then they do that. Then as they get older, I impress more about the conservation, the environmentalism that goes along with it. Whatever you pack in, pack out that, and always one more thing. One more piece
take
of
something
trash,
extra. Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
And then different. I don't get into this too much, except for the older adults. And said, like I said, at my point now, I'm like really love fishing with my wife. Just doing a simple way fishing. When I started, when I was like 8, 10 years old, still use lures. That's still pretty cool to me. But different seasons. Like I used to love going fishing in the spring, spawn and stuff. Now I really like fishing in the fall. Looking more, paying attention to my surroundings. Those beautiful colors of the leaves. Watching the migration of the birds, watching the wildlife. That part of it is just as interesting now to me. My surroundings.
Yeah, and so there's always that opportunity. I mean, at a big impoundment like Octoraro, there's fish.
Yeah,
and we can pay attention to fish, absolutely. But there's also eagles.
Oh my God, yes.
And all kinds of waterfowl, water birds to watch, and they are interesting just in themselves, just in what they're doing.
Yes.
I mean, we don't have to be some kind of, birding maniac with our book and our binoculars and everything. We can be fishing and see what's going on.
Yes.
In the sky, in the trees, on the bank, on the water.
And we have so many varied wildlife out there in Octoraro Reservoir.
Yeah.
From small game to like a friend of mine, Tim Tipton. He used to work for Cabela's. When I first came down, I've been there 24 years now. First couple of years I met him, came down. He pointed out 7 game ducks to me, which I never knew. I was never a hunter of geese or ducks.
Right.
And I was looking at him and said, wow, that's really interesting. So all the different colors of them. He gave me his binoculars, all the different, the way the diving ducks were, the morgansers, the diving morganser, the herrings, the egrets. We had a spoonbill out there, which is supposedly a very, very rare bird 3 years ago.
They are, yeah.
One year, the tundra geese came down there, 10,000 strong.
Wow.
And that was like something to behold. It was amazing.
Yeah. So you go out fishing, you never know what you're going to see, and that's really part of this whole the lifelong journey is that it opens you up to all kinds of different things, to see what's happening around you. And then the mental aspect as well, which is, yes, I'm paying attention to the fish and my fishing. And if I want to take a little break and reset myself, I can look around, I can see what's there. And we know, and we teach in the program, that being out in nature and just experiencing water, sky, and trees changes how we feel.
Most definitely.
If we get out into nature for a few hours once a week, the chances that we will become depressed actually drop. It's amazing to think about that. It's that simple.
And it's proven with science, too.
Yes, and there's science behind it. So that, absolutely get out, have fun, do the fish thing, look around you, and you're taking care of yourself. And parents, care-ers who are listening, when you're taking a kid out to fish, you're doing so much more than just fishing. You're doing the attention thing. You're doing the emotion regulation thing. You're doing the tolerating distress thing. You're communicating, and you're changing how you are together in nature. I mean,
yes,
that's a pretty
big part.
Pretty big payoff for basically a cheap date.
Yes.
Right. So,
And that's the thing with fishing too. You can go hog wild, spend thousands upon $1,000.
oh boy.
Or just,
Yes.
oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And you'll be happy for that. At your store.
Yeah, that keeps me in weenies and beanies, yeah.
Yeah.
But like a favorite, I'm with Favorite Rods and Reels. And sell them. They make good stuff, by the way. That's why I sell them.
There's the plug.
There's the plug. But yeah, wait, what was I going to say? There was some point I wanted to make. Don't get old, folks. I forget what I was going to say.
That's okay.
It's terrible.
That's okay. So it'll show up again sometime. Yeah. All right. Meanwhile, I want to ask you what I ask all of our guests, which is, do you have a couple of words of wisdom for us, just to sort of tie things together?
Okay. That was where I was going. Okay, like I said, thousands of dollars, like on his specialty reels, all titanium, the same thing with the rods. You can go out, especially for a child, just go get him a Zebco 202 or Zebco 303 or any of those little things. Just get the interest in there. He will be so happy you did that as he gets older. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for bringing me out, learning the art of fishing. It's the thing I can keep with me for the rest of my life, and I can have many hours and days of enjoyment with it. Plus the other things we went through about learning, your surroundings. Just enjoying the surroundings. You go out there, you pack a lunch, you fish, they ain't biting. I'm eating a sandwich, drinking a soda. Looking at this beautiful, beautiful tree. Something simple as that, but you absorb it.
Yeah. It becomes part of you, I got to say.
Yeah, it really does. That's one thing I would really miss if I didn't have that. Yeah. I still need that in my daily life. That's, I'm lucky to have that. And just keep at it. You guys can, just take practice, spend time on the water. Everybody, teenagers, everybody wants to be a bass pro. Well, come and talk to me personally at the shop. I'll tell you how to do that, but it's going to be a lot of work, man. You got to put the hours in. You got to
keep at it. Yes. That's our watchword, is to keep fishing.
Yes.
And so I want to say thank you, Jim. This was terrific.
Thank you, Don.
And to our listeners here, I want to say, come on out to the fishing tournament for the Oxford Library on Saturday, June 29th, starting at 7 a.m. It is. It's cool.
Yes.
at the Glenroy Preserve in Nottingham. So, thanks everyone.